Okay, we are live with Gauntlet Hangouts. We're playing Dungeon World. This is Gaunt Marches, the land of 1,000 Sloughs. This is our first session of 5. We're going to be running all throughout July on Monday nights. I'm really excited about the players we've got and the characters they've created. We're going to kind of describe the world a little bit and review our cats really quickly. And then we'll talk to each of our players and their characters. So, the world of the Gaunt Marches is an open campaign with several GMs. We've got another one running on Thursdays throughout July, and then we're going to have a couple more in August as well. With that said, the actions of our characters here are going to affect the other players and vice versa. So it may get messy and interesting, or they may never see each other or hear of each other for a long time, but we'll see. As far as the cats go, the concept is just that open world feel. There's lots of places the characters can go, lots of things to look into, lots of things they can change or uphold. Our aim is to basically discover the world and see how dangerous the situations our characters can survive, because it is definitely going into kind of tone. It's an uncaring world. There's going to be dangers that they may encounter that will almost outright kill them. There's going to be things that they encounter that they're going to be like, why did we even have to bump into this? Just because there's such a variety and range of difficulties and challenges in the world. As far as subject matter goes, we're going to pursue kind of like a TV-14. There's obviously going to be violence since we're playing Dungeon World. There's going to be dialogue, sexual content. We've got a few veils in place though. We're going to be avoiding any like actual sex on screen as well as torture. And we have one line in place, just violence against children is something that we've decided to not include in our game. You double check that we don't have anything else. We're also, as far as, I'm not interested in seeing like people being oppressed or looked down on or insulted because of their sexuality. I think we get enough of that in the real world. So as far as we can imagine, the genders are equal. So that's one other thing. Cool. Well, let's get started looking at our characters. We've got Tyler here. Why don't you introduce us to Lady Camille?
All righty. Lady Camille de Darren is a member of the minor nobility. She was kind of stuck in that life of having to be present for the parties and that sort of thing, but she hated it, absolutely despised it. And her parents wanted her to get married and produce heirs and that sort of thing, and she really despised that because, amongst other things, she was far more attracted to the other ladies of the court. And so kind of in rebellion, she began studying with the household swordmaster, who discovered she was very good at it, very good at fighting. And it was during that time that he suggested she go to whatever of the larger cities around to actually study with a true master. And that was amongst the spell swords, and where she found her whip, which is she calls Blaze, which moves around her seemingly sometimes of its own volition, and which mystic energies crackle off of.
Awesome. So are you part of the nobility here in the Gaunt Marches then?
What's the nobility look like here?
Well, so it's not a very large place. There's a small village here that's mostly cut off from the rest of the world. There's a a larger city to the south and a few other villages nearby, but most of the communication and trade is very minimal in the marches.
Is there any sort of united kingdom that this is part of? No.
No, it's been established. No.
Okay. Then I imagine that I'm from minor nobility from whatever the largest city there that you're talking about to the south.
Cool.
And that would be my guess.
Cool. I'll find that and send it to you in chat. All right. All right, Ruben, why don't you introduce us to Dreadwind Thorn?
All right, so Dreadwind Thorn is more of, well, he sort of has another life. Should I start off with that? He's not going to talk about it much, or it's something he likes to keep to himself, but should I get with that?
Yeah, if you wanna make that clear, that sounds great.
Sure. So,
Harry, you're we were worried we weren't gonna get you.
Somehow I thought it was 7:30. I thought I was being early. Am I being late?
Yeah, I think at least this time I had scheduled was 7. Did I?
Shit, I'm sorry. I may have completely screwed up, but I'm here.
No worries. We just barely started character introductions. We'll kind of go back through the cats for you. But for now, just listen in on the other characters, okay?
Cool.
So Dreadwind Thorn, he started out as one of the first teachers of this magical academy called the Hands of Fate, which they call themselves that based on their specialty with especially unstable but powerful magic. Think polymorphs, for example. That would be one kind of teaching. Dreadwind was more into flesh crafting, things that went a little around and beyond flesh golems, I would say. But as time went on, he sort of dipped into seclusion and went into his little mage tower and started with experiments and things of the such. And eventually he found what it was his most prized experiment, which was he found the deceased body of sort of an angel. And he brought it in, and for 14 years, he had been working on manipulating the flesh of this angel because as the spitting image of creation, it just kept on changing back no matter what he did, to both his glee and his frustration. So after 14 years of doing that, one night, he managed to do something. He doesn't quite remember what, and the angel sort of just vanished. And when he went to sleep, he sort of ended up in sort of a vision, dreamlike thing, where he met with all sorts of I'm just going to shorten it and say he met with eldritch horrors, and he went so deep he tore his own eyes out. So, fun fact, he is blind, and he has learned and trained to see through a matter of echolocation. So, there's a few advantages and disadvantages. He misses reading ancient tombs because he can't really do that, but he can sort of do a few things here and there. After that, he sort of thought that maybe his life would be better spent adventuring. He didn't really care where or when. So he probably went to the village on rumors that there were some recent people that had sort of been going into deep, daring missions, some of them not coming back. And he really just wants to be the acquaintance of them, more or less, to test his new powers and see how the limits are. He doesn't even have full control over them, but he just wants to test them and see what impact they have on the world. So a mage that was too curious for his own good.
Aren't they all eventually?
Yep, his time came.
Awesome.
Did you call them the Hands of Fate? Is that what that school was?
Yes, the Hands of Fate. They're more looked down upon because they are abrasive to the norm.
Okay.
You know, they're not famous or infamous. Well, they are infamous, but on a very subtle scale, I would say. Most people don't talk about them.
Cool. Harry, if you are ready, can you introduce us to your character? Is it Eula? Is that how you're saying it?
Yeah, Eula. Eula comes from a tribe. No, she wouldn't call it that. but I think the civilized world would. Some distance from the village. It's an Amazon tribe. They peacefully wander the yellow swamp, feasting on its bounty, until the sky monkey came and took our oracle. Our oracle is the center of our religion and government. And the sky monkey came, and without our oracle, the community is blind. We've dispersed, we've scattered, looking for the oracle. So I find myself here in search of really the beating heart of my tribe. I'm a huntress. I'm accompanied by several cats, which are just as unruly as cats can be. Whatever the language here in the village is, it's not my native language. I probably get a lot of, kind of disrespect because of my obvious foreignness, even in a community of lots of strange people. But anyway, so that's me. You can see my picture. I'm a young. The picture makes me look like an elf, but I just have pointy ears. I'm a human, and covered in tribal markings. I'm not sure if we've talked about how we all know each other, but I did have a thought. If Dreadwin, if you are amenable to this, it's possible that I came across you while you were wandering in the swamp, perhaps in a particular in the lands around the village. And given that your eyes are missing, I may have originally been hunting you if the hunt was particularly bad at the moment. But upon seeing your empty eyes, I may have taken you as a someone who maybe is like a harbinger that can then lead me to the oracle. So I may be like sort of following you because you have a mystical connection. I can hunt in the physical world, but you can see things beyond that.
I will say I'm okay with that, but I will remind you that generally my character wears a blindfold, but it's very possible that things got rough out in the swamp and it sort of tore off a bit, and you might have seen one of my eyes. Well, my eye sockets, I would say. So yeah, I'm totally good with that. Although I would like to add, over time, you probably would realize there's more of a dark aura around me than one of hope. So only if your character is willing to take the risks associated with it. Only if you have the guts for it.
Aren't all magicians evil?
We'll go with that. Let's go with that. Sure.
Evil magic.
It's you play with fire, you're going to get burned, and I'm fully aware of that.
It's just like there's only one magician that isn't evil, and they were taken by a flying monkey.
All right.
Oracle isn't evil.
Well, so there's one good magic user you've met.
I'm not sure they're magic. They just know things. That's not magic.
What was the question I had? Oh, how large was your tribe before it dispersed?
Well, to my mind, it was large, but in reality, it was probably, if someone were to count, which no one would think to count in the community, maybe it was in the hundreds.
Okay, sounds good. And just to double check, it looks like you're using the original version of the Ranger playbook, right? So you're not doing the NPC follower with the cats?
Yeah, I have not used NPCs before, and this just made sense to me, so I figured I'd go with that. I'm totally up for changing that as time goes on.
If you decide you want to. Cool. Let's move on and meet our final character. Adam, will you introduce us to Rukau?
Yes, I have to get used to unmuting. All right, so Rukau of the Tiger Blood clan, he calls it Uktashkula, but he speaks in your language, so he'll just be the tiger blood guy. And there's not a lot of tiger bloods around here. There probably might be a lot of hobgoblins of various clans. I don't know how civilized it is around here. The West Marshes make me think this town that's nearby is kind of the only one in a quite a ways. So he is pretty mercenary at the moment, willing to kind of do what it takes to show his worth and to find a place to migrate his clan. I haven't put a ton of thought into his background and don't necessarily have cool details nailed down yet, but I think two things I think might be cool would be if he has a kid or kids who defeated him, and so he's a little bit shamed and has to regain his reputation. I don't know if he had position or was any kind of chieftain before, but whatever he did, his children took that over. And that's totally fair. And he's kind of proud and shamed at the same time. But then since he's been gone, so he had to leave, since he's been gone, the clan's home was taken over by some monster. I kind of like the Erebor smog thing. So he's trying to find a new place for them to come. And there's all this land that's undeveloped, and he can conquer it and regain his honor and restore the clan to rightful living. So his kid or kids are in charge of some homeless hobgoblin somewhere, doing whatever they're doing.
Yeah. And once you conquer the land and regain your honor, you'll send them a message and they'll come along.
Yeah. Hey, there's a place for you. I'm in charge again. Try to beat me this time.
Sweet.
So he's a little bit past his prime.
Now?
What?
Where are they staying now, though?
They're kind of dispersed. I think they're just, I don't know, living off the land, kind of being raiders, even though they wouldn't normally be, just because of shortage and scarcity. So they're probably in smaller pockets of like immediate families, maybe, or just war bands.
So they sort of like aren't accepting a new home until you find one, and they're sort of lost and looking for one.
Yeah, it's easier just to be mercenary or to raid. So they're either getting paid to fight or just fighting to get paid. So that's easier than like rebuilding infrastructure. I'm not like the raider orcs from Tolkien that have no kind of sense. I don't really want that.
That's okay. All right, cool. Yeah, you said you didn't have much background. I think that's plenty. Just an idea. We can fill in the gaps when it comes up. So,
cool.
All right. So just for Harry's kind of edification, the Gaunt Marches is going to be a multi-GM campaign. So we've got 2 running this month, and we're probably going to have 3 or 4 running in August. And basically, your character's task is just to have a reason to and a drive for influencing Gaunt Marches. Whether it's like Adam, you trying to conquer, or you find out that you just want to get the heck out. Whatever your reason for being there, just make it connected to influencing and changing the world. We've got a couple of veils. We're going to expect a lot of fantasy violence, even some kind of dark dialogue, sexual content. The veils we have are, we don't want to see sex on screen. I don't want to see torture on screen either. And then we also have a line, so it's not going to happen at all. Violence against children is just not something we're going to portray. Kind of along those lines is we're going to pretend like gender is not as divisive of a thing. We're going to pretend like people don't hate each other for being men or women or anything else in this world, because there's plenty of that where we really are. The only other thing, Harry, you're going to be the deciding vote here, or I should start calling you guys by your characters' names. Eula is going to have the deciding vote here. We're going to start kind of in the middle of the action on the way to one of these, to investigate one of these rumors. The rumors that we narrowed down to are in a nearby town, there was a bandit being hung, and as he was hanging and his last breath escaped, just before it was known he was dead, he just vanished, disappeared. So that was one of the rumors people were interested in. The other is that there's been a sign hanging up for weeks, maybe months. The herbalist in town, or the apothecary rather, is looking for somebody to go harvest some fungi and plants and different ingredients from the Kyrgyz forest. The Kyrgyz forest is known for being overgrown, and everything there is a little bit bigger than you'd expect. And everything there hears a little better and sees a little better and bites a little harder, you know. And so he doesn't want to go and do it himself, so he's willing to pay anybody who will bring back the ingredients that he requires. So between those two rumors, do you lean one way or the other? Do you have an interest specifically?
You know, Sky Monkey could have taken the Oracle at either of those places. In general, though, getting paid isn't a motivation for Eula. So the tricksteriness of having someone disappear is maybe a little more curious.
Cool. Well, then I think that's where we will find ourselves. We're going to take a short bio break just so I can get my head on straight and check my notes for heading that direction, and then we'll be back in 3-4 minutes. So just short break. Oh, you know what? That's a good reminder, Tyler. So maybe before we go on break, we will run through our keys. So raise of hands, who's used keys before? 2, Adam hasn't, Harry hasn't. Okay.
Well, I haven't done it in Dungeon World. I'm really interested to see how they do it there.
Did you say who has or who has not?
Who has?
Oh, I've done it in Lady Blackbird only.
Okay. So just kind of a quick summary. So the flags, you guys, I think all chose some. The flags or keys are telling everybody else what you want to do, and you're responsible for turning your own. But if other people help you to turn it, then they gain experience as well. So let's just look at it from a practical standpoint. So if you guys want to look at the character keeper under Tyler's character Millie, his first key is Key of the Noble. So he gains XP at the end of the session when he refuses an order or request that's beneath him, or encounters a hardship or pain rather than suffers indignity. So as long as Millie does that during the session, at the end when we kind of go back and review, she'll get an experience. If Tyler decides that Millie's outgrown any of his keys, then he can do the buy-off. So the buy-off for the Key of the Noble is when you follow an order that is beneath your status or delivered by someone that you do not respect. So if he thinks that for whatever reason the fiction has gone this way and he thinks it makes more sense for Millie to give up that key, he can buy it off. We'll have it happen fictionally, and then he'll come with a new key the next session, and he'll get 2 experience for having kind of completed that character arc. So Harry, does that make sense to you as far as the difference between keys and bonds and the typical way of playing?
I think so. I think it'll take a little bit of getting used to actually triggering them and keeping track of what everyone's keys are. But I'm sure it'll come. Okay,
cool. We are going to have an experience limit because it can go out of control since you're handing it out. So you can get 2 experience per session from turning your own, and you can get 2 experience from other people, from helping other people. So you can turn as many keys as you want. Don't feel limited there. But you're just going to get experience, up to 4 experience total, 2 from yourself and 2 from helping others. So, yes.
Are we getting experience also from alignments or drives?
We'll be getting experience from keys and failed rolls and adventure hooks.
But not alignments or drives.
Not alignment or drive. If you like the alignment you have enough, I can help you convert it into a key.
Okay. I was just checking in to make sure. Yeah,
and I didn't say not to pick an alignment just because I still think that having that in the back of your mind is kind of a fun guiding principle for characters. Adam, did you have a question? No? So then, oh, are you? I think you're muted.
Okay. Am I now?
Yeah,
Can
you're
you hear me?
good. I can hear you.
Okay. Does the key experience happen immediately or at the end of session?
It'll all be at the end.
Okay.
Mhm.
Cool.
Okay, so let's just run through all of our keys, and then we'll do our break. Thank you for the reminder, Tyler. So let's start with Tyler. If you want to just summarize each of your keys, you don't have to read it word for word or the buy-offs, but just summarize for everybody. And if there's one particular that you're thinking, hey, I want to make sure to hit this, call it out so other people can help.
Alrighty. You've heard the key of the noble. I have the key of the lover, which is where I gain XP when I fall in and out of love again, which I kind of like. And when I successfully romance a former foe, and I'll buy it off when I stay faithful to someone. I see that one going for a while. That key of noble, I wouldn't mind moving towards getting rid of, in the idea that I become a more common, I get closer to the common people, less of a snob. And the key of the reckless, gain XP when I act without thinking and things get out of hand, or when my poorly laid plans come to fruition and you somehow benefit while others do not. And it buys off if I start controlling that.
Awesome. Let's hear Dreadwin's keys.
All right, so we have Key of the Enigma when you successfully deflect or evade an inquiry into your doings, or when your mysterious nature costs you or a friend or ally. I feel like that's going to be easy to turn, but I'm especially keen on turning it. Key of the Meddler when you use magic to change something tangible in a lasting way, or when your magic is self-perpetuating or contagious. That could also happen. Then there's Key of the Overlord when you force others to respect your magical prowess, or when your magic it should be causes, but whatever, fear and terror amongst a group of innocents. So Tuesday.
Tuesday from the Addams Family. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's a regular Tuesday for my guy.
Oh, nice. All right, let's see. Eula, why don't you read off your keys?
Well, I'm the hunter, so tracking creatures is naturally what I do. Not just creatures, tracking anything. I'm also very strange, so I'll get experience for either explaining one of my beliefs or offending someone with my beliefs. And I think that one is probably a key target. And then I'm tenacious. That one, yeah, I'll probably change that over time because that probably is an easy kind of throwaway one. Everyone's going to try their hardest. So, but Eula's extra tenacious.
Cool. All right, and let's hear Rookhouse.
All right, so the expansionist is what I renamed Cultivator from the Druid. Just that I like him to encourage people to go beyond their current limitations and boundaries. And towns should always be bigger than they are, and people should always be biting off more than they can chew. And that one could probably stick around for a while, but I don't know, maybe not. And then the ringleader, I'm gonna try taking. So whatever taking the lead looks like, he might be the one that pulls these disparate types together for practical purposes, maybe. He'll probably be trying to do that more than like practically doing it. I want to play with his charisma, commanding presence, and probably fail a lot at it. So he has lots of advice about how people ought to live and be honorable. That's probably not how most people want to live, but he's happy to give it. And then I think I'm sticking with the contender, where he seeks out equals in combat, because that's a very hobgoblin-y thing, or people that are greater than him. So Yes, I think I might be seeking dangers that we maybe can't survive. So that's
Cool. All right, sounds good. And one other note with the keys is, since we're doing kind of a writer's room approach, don't feel like you have to stay in your character and try and like throw hints and hooks to the other players. If you want to hit a key, just say, hey, while we're walking from A to B place, Tyler, what do you think about me helping you turn this key? And then we'll have the scene. We're going to do a lot of hard framing, so if you want to frame up a scene, just raise your hand, say, hey, I want to do that, Spencer, and we'll do it. Let's take our 4-minute bio break, and we'll be back for the action.
It's lovely to see you again, Harry. I've missed you, not seeing you for a while.
Thanks. It's nice to see you too. I was excited when I saw you were going to be in this. Hey, I had a question. Did you and Dreadwin end up being from the same school of magic or something like that? I saw some chat between you guys.
I don't know. Dreadwin, do you think that's a possible? I actually had a thought that maybe maybe Rukow and I would know each other off of a concept of there's an aspect of the spell sword that is also a mercenary. I have a move that has to do with being employed. And I was thinking maybe the two of us have been working together, traveling around, selling our abilities and getting into hijinks and adventure.
That sounds good.
Only if you can come up with a good reason as to why your magic is particularly unstable. That's the only condition.
Does it have to be unstable?
Yeah, that's the whole quirk of the magic school he's in.
Oh, I see. The magic school. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I almost actually had the key of the noble at first, but then when you had it, I preferred other things. So they probably butted heads and gotten along.
Maybe I could suggest something. What if Rukow was from another continent entirely? Like he landed here. He maybe landed in the city that Tyler's from. Eelton, which is just south of here on the sea, and you guys met up there? Or do you not like the idea from being from an entirely other continent?
Oh, that's okay. I mean, I would hope there'd be some hobgoblins here to interact with, but I don't mind being. I don't want to step on the stranger toes of Eula either.
It also seems to make sense in the context that you're looking for a new homeland. So the idea that you crossed continents actually makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Vikings motif of nautical raiders, so I wouldn't mind if they are phalanx hobgoblins who are also nautical masters.
Cool. And I mean, if we end up we find something more interesting, we can retcon a little bit. So. All right, so I've got a couple of establishing questions. So I keep on thinking it's Rauku, but it's Rukow. Rukow, I get the impression that you were probably the one who put the four of you together in a band to go and investigate this rumor. What was it about Dreadwin specifically that made you think he might be useful for something like this?
Dreadwin, do you enjoy acquiring corpses?
No, the last time he did that, it ended very badly.
Okay.
Very badly.
Well, then probably just...
If you ever tried to hire him and you sort of... Like, if you were auditioning for people and he walked in the door and you refused him, he would probably just kill everyone else in the room and say, "Am I hired?"
Okay. Do you want to...
He doesn't exactly know how these things work, so he just tries.
Okay, I'm thinking Rukow is not happy with, or not comfortable with magic and mysticism. And so the spell sword is like halfway there because it's just a sword with weird stuff. So I think Dreadwin would be kind of the creepiest elf that has weird powers that he knows about. And so he probably could do something about some mystical situation. And so probably he brought him because he's totally uncomfortable with him, if that makes sense, or invited him, or I guess tried to hire him. I don't know.
So is
I don't have any money, so I'm not hiring you.
He'll accept that.
Yeah, so it sounds like you were just covering all your bases. You're like, okay, we got a couple guys with good swords. We've got a tracker. We need somebody to cover all the things that the rest of us can't take care of.
Like disappearing corpses.
Cool. All right, I love it. Love it. All right, Dreadwin, what do you think about Millie and her title and her nobility?
He really couldn't care less. Like, he really couldn't care less. If you said, oh, there's a noble over here, be like, oh, okay. So, all right. So, what do you expect me to do? Overall, he doesn't exactly have a view of hierarchy too well. Like, he knows it's a thing, but he just doesn't seem to care. It's kind of hard to tell, but that's sort of how it comes off. He may have killed a few important people every now and again, which may have gotten him into trouble. I will say that. So that's sort of his relationship with nobles. Gotcha.
Cool. All right. And Eula, when Rukau and you were discussing the terms of you scouting for his group, what was the main condition or thing that you were looking to get out of it?
Well, I need to travel. I need to search high and low. I can do that more quickly alone, but it's safer in a group. I don't know the ways of this land, and putting together a group myself would be difficult. You know, Rukau doesn't know the ways of this land either, but I have the sense that he is more of an organizer than I am. So, you know, I respect Rukau. I fear him a little bit, but I respect him. I think he would even be a good mate if he wasn't male.
Awesome. Love it. All right. And Millie, what does your, maybe you kind of already answered this, but maybe lay it out more plain for us. What does your family, your house that you left back in Eelton, think of you gallivanting off to slay dragons and wander through swamps? What do they think about it?
I think they're a little disappointed. I think they expected me to stay home and fulfill a more traditional role. But at the same time, I have older brothers, and I've always sort of roughhoused with them. And I think that they accepted that staying in the manor was not going to be the life that Millie was probably going to lead. And a part of my desire to be out here is to prove to my father and brothers that I'm just as capable and dangerous as any warrior that we know.
Awesome. Okay, well, you guys find yourself about a week's travel out. You're maybe 10 or so days away from your final destination, where this rumor originated, which is the town of Alameen. And I'll put that in the chat so you guys don't have to guess how to spell it. But the town of Alameen was the location that this bandit was hung and vanished from. So there's an old trade road that has hardly been used the last at least 50 years, and most of living memory. And the pavers are still there in some places, but they're well worn and even lost in other places. So it's definitely useful to have a tracker. As you go, Eula, you and your cats, let's just get a scout roll from you, and we'll see how this encounter goes. So, Eula, why don't you roll your tracking, or I'm trying to think what it's called. Not the hunt and track. Roll plus your wisdom for a scout roll, like you were making a long journey. There's a roll for your party if you want to use that. Otherwise, physical dice are fine with me.
All right. I've got the roll from your party up, but I've forgotten how to use it. It's been a while, so I'll just roll physical dice. All right. So it's this is the not the ranger move, but the regular scout move, correct?
Yeah. So it'll be plus your wisdom.
Okay. All right, I rolled a 6 plus my wisdom, which is 2, so that's 8.
Awesome. So you can describe for the fiction. I'll tell you what happens, but you can describe how you know this. There is a pride of ligers that call these lands their home, and you would know that they're ferocious in protecting their lands, and maybe you seem like a threat to them, maybe you don't. How do you realize this?
Their scat, of course. Their spore is left in the trail. We're walking along, and my cats start to act up a little bit, and I pause the group as I go off and explore and get my spear out and poking around, and sure enough, I recognize the spore of the liger, a most excellent creature. If we keep our heads down, we might pass through without their attention. You know, I don't think we have any business with them if they stay away from us. And if we do see them, we should probably make loud noises to try to drive them off.
Cool. All right. So as you're going, you've recognized their scat, and maybe another hour's walk, you see crouched in. Oh, I should describe a little better the landscape. I'm sorry, guys. So you're in kind of an arid desert. Think like steppe lands from the eastern Asia. There's some scrubs, there's some small trees, but it's mostly just flat as far as I can see vision. So Eula, you'll spot in one of the bushes the shoulder. You know how the shoulder bit on a lion kind of pops up, and you can see that this pride is tracking and possibly even hunting you. What do you do?
Ah, they're hunting us. I can see that. The movements. I point out there's more than one of them. See? I don't think that we'll be able to outrun them. I notch an arrow. Does anyone? Let's see. I don't know that much about.
Do we kill them? Do we kill them?
Let's try to drive them off. But if they get a good taste of us, they probably won't leave us. We'll have to kill them. But can you make a noise or something that would scare them?
I definitely think I could provide that. Do you want a noise or do you want blood?
They're natural creatures of the wild. That they may be hunting us, but they're just hungry, just as we hunt to eat. See if you can drive them off.
So is it okay if I give them to something else to feed them? Like if I just feed something else, make them food? Does that make it right? Like, he's not asking in an inquisitive way, he's actually just curious.
Yeah, I kind of come up to you and look into where your eyes would be, and just sort of ponder your state of mind and say, everyone needs to eat. Do what you have to do, Gedwin.
All right. We'll stick with scaring them away for now. And with that, as you're looking into his face, the eye socket in his right eye, it actually starts to glow red. And he's going to cast a spell that is going to basically just... It's going to summon a conjure a horror within their minds, like completely disrupt them entirely. So I'll do a roll for that, shall I?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Let's get the roll, and then we'll get a little more fiction if we get it.
Yeah, depending on what happens. So this would be it wouldn't be black magic. It would just be cast a spell, I believe.
Correct.
Okay. How should I do the roll for your party? Because last time the die were actually on there. I don't see the die on here at the moment.
So up at the top here, you know what? I will just give you 2 dice. There you
Okay. All right. And reroll score.
go. Roll, huh?
That's a full 7, considering I had the bonus.
Cool.
So.
All right. So since this is our first time seeing cast a spell, let's just quickly look at it. So on a 7 to 9, the spell will take its effect. So you get basically what you want, but the GM gets to choose 2 of these conditions.
All right.
So since you're trying to distract, I'm not going to give you unwanted attention. That's kind of dumb. So let's say your magic's effect is temporary or superficial. So you may frighten them away, but it's not going to like chase them and haunt their dreams or anything and make them stay far, far away. Your spell effect is also going to be much more powerful. I think... what do you guys think of this? Because he was trying to conjure it in their minds. What if he actually summons the creature into reality instead? And so that might be something you have to deal with if it doesn't chase the ligers.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Sure.
So let's hear Dreadwin as you cast the spell. What does it look like scaring off these ligeresses?
So, while I did intend for this to happen in the mind, it sort of starts spilling out. And while the ligers are sort of just like screaming and some of them are just rolling around as they try to scatter away, everything like goes quiet as they scatter in the immediate area. And then all of a sudden, just holes in the ground just start opening with teeth. The mouths, just tongues come out, eyes start showing up, and you just hear the screams just coming out of them, out of gaping holes in the ground. Some of the bushes even grow mouthed, and they start screaming, just shrieks of unintelligible gibber.
I want to hear from the rest of the party what they're thinking of this. Let's actually hear specifically from Rukal. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so the whole exchange was making him think, okay, make a noise. He was about to jump up and bang on his shield like he would normally do and give war cries and be a one-man army and have these guys back him up with their other powers, whatever they bring to bear. And that's the easy way. And you just either make them run away or take their pelts and get glory. And so instead, the magician is doing what he feared and why he brought him. And so he is kind of feeling responsible for causing this to ruin his homeland, which he's already thinking of this as his new homeland, with eldritch horrors that probably will never be defeatable. It'll just keep coming back and coming back and coming back. So there's a new haunting, and he just kind of sighs and then like readies his weapons to go kill some unknown horror and not know how to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as these mouths open up and the bushes gain sentience and freak the hell out of these lionesses or ligeresses, you see, let's say 6 of them run off in one direction. You could probably intuit that that's the way that most of the rest of the pride is waiting, but perhaps not. Anyway, they stick around for a few minutes, and if anybody is particularly horrified, they're welcome to take ability. I'm not going to force it on you, but they fade fairly quickly, and you guys are welcome to continue on your path.
Does the horror also chase him around, or it's just in the land?
Yeah, it's just he kind of described it as part of the land.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
They're more environmental than they are like actual moving things.
Okay, all right.
Edwin, that was absolutely magnificent. Oh my God, that was so unbelievably cool. Did you see that? The plants were screaming. That is so neat.
Do not encourage him. That was your idea? You
Well,
cursed the land?
The good news is it's temporary. They're backed from into the rift of which they came. The bad news is that means these other creatures which we tried to scare off are probably going to come back if we don't let it.
It's never temporary.
Oh no, trust me. It's the total opposite with this magic. The universe repairs itself before any real damage can be done. That's the greatest fear. Someone 10 times my power were somehow wielding this magic, then the world would stand no chance.
It worked.
Indeed it did. Now let's get going.
I'm up at the bushes with my spear, like really looking at them, like I don't trust them. Poking at them.
Yeah, I think as you poke out one of the gaping maws, it like catches the tip of your spear, but luckily it's about to fade as and doesn't pull your spear out of your hand.
The funny thing is, Dreadwind is probably just screaming because like this is really loud for him, so he's probably trying to scream over everything.
You're like, make myself heard.
I'm probably like, the good news is this is only temporary. The bad news is that we better leg it now before the other threats come along. It's just like that.
Well, so yeah, hearing that warning from Dreadwind that this isn't going to permanently chase them off. What are you guys thinking? Are you thinking of moving at double time, or?
If there's a whole pride nearby, then yes, I would just say, then we move and I'll start running. And if you're left behind, I won't protect you.
Cool.
Sounds good to me.
Just don't leave me behind. I don't want to summon more of these things.
And be stronger. Summon more strength.
You don't want that either.
So, let me try and find my dice. So, probably the next most interesting thing that's going to happen is going to be in a couple of days. So, I'll have you guys mark off 2 rations. If you guys want to do a camp scene, we can do that. If you want a chance to turn keys, but I think it's going to be a little while before anything more happens. No? Okay. Cool.
Well, actually, I was going to say, might be a chance to turn some of, like, maybe Dreadwind's keys or something like that, because he's going to plan on doing something else a little crazy. So he's going to try to cut down on the rations by offering to summon an abomination and offering to eat it with someone.
Frame up the scene. Let's have it.
So yeah, I mean, it will require a roll, because just it depends on it. Determine how edible this thing is first off. That's the main thing. Because if no one else is eating it, he's still eating it.
Are you going to summon it and then talk to people, or do you want to have a scene discussing it with the party first?
He's going to do it on his own accord and then offer it to people, and they're probably going to notice the Eldritch Abomination coming out of nowhere in the middle of camp.
I'm imagining that everybody's around the campfire. Maybe you guys don't have a campfire because you're worried about somebody finding you, but everybody's kind of in one place and you sneak off a little ways by yourself. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Cool. Let's, I think that's going to be probably another cast a spell. Is that what you're thinking?
I was thinking that too.
Okay. So the description is you want something with a lot of meat on it that's edible?
Well, it doesn't matter because I just failed. It doesn't even matter.
Cool.
It's just going to go wrong one way or another. I rolled a 5 before, I rolled a 4 now.
A boneless elk.
Cool. So we'll cut back to what it looks like for Dreadwind in a few moments. Let's look at everybody else at the camp. Maybe you guys are starting to lay down. Perhaps you're setting the order for watch, and you hear shrieking. Now, this sounds pretty familiar. You heard it earlier in the day, but this is just like one loud. What are the 3 of you doing?
I think just before that, when that sound went off, I was working on setting up the camp. and looking over at Lady Camilla and say, could you just do something? Could you go out and get look for some wood or some kindling or something, or maybe something soft that we can lay down on?
Well, I mean, go out myself. You need wood. I'll get us wood. Blaze. And my whip will curl down and begin bringing back wood to us.
All of a sudden, the scream.
Love it. Love it. And you could probably, using your whip, you could probably even light the fire, right?
I can, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So, yeah, perhaps right as Millie gets that fire lit and you guys are all like, oh, then this shriek occurs.
Was that our friend Darkwing?
Dreadwin, what are you up to?
Oh, he's under attack. He wandered off.
His own attack.
Dreadwin, are you within shouting distance for you, or is it just?
Well, it's probably shouting distance. He didn't go too far away. He's not that self-conscious.
So yeah, Ruka will shout, Dreadwin, what are you up to?
I'm summoning food.
And so this food that you've summoned looks kind of like a California condor, but instead of feathers, it has like strips of meat hanging off of it that make up its feathers. It's still got that kind of gross red head, and the beak is like serrated too. And let's say it's, I don't know, 8 feet high, or like a 12-foot span. Like this is a massive creature that you summoned. You wanted meat, right?
Yeah.
And as it shrieks at you, perhaps Dreadwin, you're realizing this is out of your own scope to kill and cut up.
So I think Ruka would dash up and run to him. He's used to shield walling people. But he also is curious. Did you have a plan on how to kill this after you'd summoned it?
Well, it was supposed to kill itself, but if worse comes to worse, I could always kill it.
As you say that, it starts like vomiting. And it like spits out, like it's red and green and putrid. I'm going to have the two of you that were closest take a constitution check to see how this bile affects you.
Can I take it on the shield for both of us?
You can sure try. Let's get a defend roll.
Okay, that's con.
Yep.
Where is it? Where is it? Where's the... Oh, there. So 7, 8.
Cool. So that'll give you one hold, and I think one hold will let you lessen the effect of. I think they phrase it as like a spell. Is that what you're wanting to do with it?
Or just redirect it all to me.
Oh, okay. So it'll splash all over you, and Dreadwin's not going to catch it at all.
Yeah, I'll put it over him.
Great. Sounds good. So you are going to take the debility of sick.
All right.
And yeah, I think that's enough. All right, so yeah, it vomits up. You block it. Does it get in your armor too?
Yeah. I trust in my armor to block most wounds, but it just like soaks through things and like gets at me in fumes and stuff like that in ways that I'm not used to.
Cool. And it kind of, that hop that birds do, it kind of like hops a little closer to you. It's looking quite menacing. What are the two of you doing? And then we'll cut to the camp next.
Yeah, I'm going to cast a spell noticing that this bird doesn't seem to be too friendly to my friend. I mean, it's nothing new, mind you, but you have to deal with pets and put them down when they get too troublesome. And then you skin them for meat, but that's the second part.
What effect are you hoping for with this spell?
I'm basically going to start melting its flesh.
Okay. That sounds like black magic.
You're cooking it.
Why don't you grab a couple of tags? Let's see. You pick 2 tags.
If it wasn't horrible enough already.
I am basically going to get it within hand range because I don't think it's menacing towards me at the moment. And we are fairly close to it, so I think I can get close enough to it at the moment.
Grab it with your hand.
Yeah, and that lets me not choose a range tag for the time being. So I can choose debilitating, of course. And, well, let's see here. Debilitating. And you know what? I'm going to stick with the idea of cooking flesh, and I'm going to have its flesh boil.
Oh, so like...
Elemental fire.
Elemental fire? Cool.
Yeah, so we're going to start cooking some bird.
Yeah, let's get your black magic roll. This might help everybody else see what's going on, too.
If they didn't already hear it. 12? Oh, hell yeah. Cooked bird, my friends. Cooked
Sweet.
bird.
All right, so on a hit, you deal D8 damage, and all of your other things take effect as well. So why don't you roll that damage, and then I'll kind of give some description of what it looks like.
All right, could you roll an 8 for me so I can work with that?
Oh, yeah, happy to. Gotta get my keyboard out, sorry.
Sorry. All right. 6. We got ourselves a 666 on the table, folks. Technically, it's a 5. It's -1, but it's still beautiful. Nat 666.
Yeah. So the wing that you grab, it's just like you described. It smells like cooking raw, like rotten meat. Like it's kind of putrid and gross. But that wing just lights up really quick, and it takes a big jump back from you and starts flapping like it's going to take off. Now, with that burst of light, the rest of you at the campfire can see that this is definitely a threat. What are you guys wanting to do?
It's more of a bubbling and boiling of flesh.
Oh, so you weren't going for like flame.
No, keep in mind that I can't really create flame per se. I'm just transfiguring flesh, and so I'm having it boil.
Oh, okay. So maybe there wasn't the light, but yeah, you still.
No, but the shriek of the animal would definitely give off because it would be a loud shriek of pain.
Yeah.
Clearly, the kind of thing you'd hear in a fight. And also, due to the debilitating tag, I don't think it'd be able to fly away even if it wanted to.
Well, so the debilitating just gives it -1 damage. We'll see if it can fly in a minute.
Oh, okay. I didn't know debilitating actually had a tag. I thought it was -1 damage to my roll.
Oh no, it's -1 damage from the creature. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I totally read that wrong then.
All right.
So you did 1 more damage.
No, wait. No, because 2 targets says -1 damage as well.
All right. Let me make sure I'm reading this right. Yeah. No, debility means that it deals 1 less damage. Ongoing.
Where does it say that?
Under black magic. Do you see where my cursor is?
Yeah, but do you see 2 targets? It says the same thing as well, so I don't see why it would say that.
It's just
confirming that it does 1 damage.
Then you do less damage, and if you debilitate something, it deals less damage.
Okay, so okay. All right, let's go with that.
Okay, cool. Millie and Eula, what are you guys up to?
I'm going to look over at Eula and say, that doesn't sound natural at all, and that smell, oh my god. And I'm going to pull out my whip and whip it up towards a branch close to me and just sort of pull myself across, and I'm leaping into battle. I'm
Indiana Jones style, baby.
That's it.
Yeah, we'll say you're able to land as close as you want to it, because you may not want to be right up next to it, since you've got a little bit of range with your weapon.
That's it.
But yeah, you're definitely in striking distance.
Take this, you fiendish fowl! And I'm going to prepare to attack. I don't know if I can move in and attack at the same time.
Yeah, you've got time. That's
cute. All right then. So I whip crack out straight towards its face area, and my whip smacks it, hopefully good and solid. We'll find out though in a moment.
Cool.
Oh, ever so, yeah.
Yep.
That gives me an 11.
okay.
So I'm going to give myself a D8. Did I give that? Don't see it. Maybe I didn't. There we go. I'm going to give myself a D8. There it is. I rolled a 1. So 2 points of damage.
Oh no. All right. So you deal the damage. Are you trying to wrap it around its beak or anything as well?
No, I'm just whip cracking it.
Cool. Yeah, I think you hit it right on the beak, and there's a flash and a sizzle from your whip's magic, but it doesn't seem to do much to it.
I probably have gotten a little too close. I even though I have range, I think I was leaping in. I'm turning my key of reckless a little here, and I think I was hopping into battle.
Okay, sounds great.
All right. When I first heard the scream, I thought, of course, that the wizard had been attacked by something. So I grabbed my spear and made a little clicking sound to the cats and ran off toward where the sound came from. But as soon as I got clear of the shrubs and could see what was going on, I stopped in my tracks. You could see the little dust coming up from my boots as I came to a halt, jaw dropped by this thing. I throw down my spear and pull out my bow, click to hold the cats back, because they don't. This is unnatural. It's not for them. And I pull back the string and let loose arrow after arrow into this thing.
Cool. Let's see a volley. Oh no, we lost Ruben.
Oops. That's 3. 9 plus dexterity is 2. 11. Let's see. Volley. It's been a long time since I've played Dungeon World. Let's see. 7 and 9. What is the 10 result for volley?
I think it just means that you get to deal your damage and you don't have the cost, whatever that cost may be from a start.
Okay. All right. So it's a D8.
Yeah. Go ahead and deal your damage, and then we'll pause for Ruben for a second to see if it's coming back on real quick.
Looks like I got a 6. Arrows impacting into the chest.
Yeah. So you said you loosed a few arrows. Where did you hit it?
In the chest. Almost like pushing it back.
Yeah.
With the impacts.
Cool. All right. This is a bummer when this happens in the middle of an action scene. I'm going to send him a message on chat real quick.
We're starting off, and this is our first encounter. Would you be overly bothered? I'm realizing my whip is precise if I shifted my strength and dex.
No, yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
Not me at all. So, Adam, you said this is your first Gauntlet game. Have you played online before at all?
Yes, yep. Last year I ran a few arcs, like 6-session campaigns of Apocalypse World, and I was starting Dungeon World, but then I got busy and we just bought a house and moved. So I haven't been doing online gaming in a while, but yeah, I've done a lot of play-by-post also for like years and years and years. But the last 2 years I started doing online gaming like this.
Cool.
But it's been a while. It's been like half a year, 3/4 of a year.
Okay.
So I don't know all the fancy new Roll20 and like roll for your party kind of techniques and stuff.
Yeah, I keep it pretty simple. All right, glad to have you back, Ruben.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. My internet just crapped out, and I had to I booted up my phone as a wireless hotspot for the time being.
Oh, geez. Yeah, it happens to all of us. No worries.
So what did I miss?
All you missed is that we got a couple arrows in his chest from Yuri. Did I get that right?
Yula.
Dang it. Eula. And so as these arrows hit it, it gets, its last beat off and it's airborne. And as it goes airborne, it's going to knock you to the ground, Billy. And why don't you take just a D6 of damage? No modifiers or anything to that. But it's starting to disappear into the night sky. What are you guys doing?
I'm gonna not let it get away. I'm gonna cast another spell to try to. Specifically, I'm going to really focus on melting the flesh off the wings.
Okay, so you're. Go ahead.
Actually, no. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do something else. I'm not going to melt the flesh. I'm going to have it sort of transfer into its other sort of appendages so that it becomes heavier elsewhere, and all the flesh from the wings to the point where it's just skin and bones. And it's just going to drop from the sky.
Cool. I like it. Yeah, that sounds horrifying enough to be within your wheelhouse.
I think y'all saw Billy when this thing backed up. I fell backwards and took a really nasty tumble, and it probably cracked my head against a rock, since I took a full 6 hit points.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty.
Oh, does my armor apply?
Yeah, that makes sense for the armor.
Still 5 hit points.
All right, so roll to cast a spell.
Yep, let's see how this goes, Dreadwin.
7.
Cool.
So same for you. You get to choose 2.
Cool. All right. I think that this, I'm going to give you unwanted attention, and your spell has unforeseen side effects, but that might roll into the unwanted attention. So it's hard to see this thing since it was like kind of blackish already, and it goes up into the sky. But you guys know that whatever mumbling and symbols that he's making with his hands is working, because suddenly you see a burst of light, and you hear a thud a few hundred feet away. It fell completely out of the sky. You don't hear any shrieking or other movement from it over there. Now, you guys are welcome to go over and investigate. I will say this. I think there might be some opportunities for keys to be turned here. I'm not sure how everybody feels about a horror being summoned without the party's permission, but it might be something to look into.
Yeah.
So what are you guys doing?
I would be running over to where where the sound came from. Is it still light out? Are we getting dark?
I think we said it was already dark, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to get there very quickly, Eula. And as you get close enough to be able to see it with the little bit of light from the fire, it's crumpled, just a crumpled mess on the ground. It's just a mass of flesh and stink.
Well, to the victor goes the spoils, and to the hungry goes the meat. Let's skin this thing.
Dreadwood, what is the? Were you attacked? Did this come out of the night? Are there more of them out there?
Oh no! There was just like one in what was it? 8,270, 150, still growing. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I think I summoned this thing, and it did not take kindly to anyone else around here, and sort of just, well, he looks over to his friend who was vomited on. And
You're
then we
blaming
killed
this
him.
on me? You blame this on me?
No,
It
I'm not
came with
blaming
a
you.
foul temper.
No, I'm not blaming this on you. I'm just saying that that's what happened. And then we killed it, and then we got a lot of meat here.
Okay,
And now we can
Dreadwin.
eat.
Dreadwin, I see that dagger on your belt. Go ahead and skin it.
Oh no, you first.
I'm no hunter, I'm a killer.
And this dagger is more for sacrificial purposes.
Okay.
I'll get down in there. I'm not afraid to get dirty. Is this edible at all? I'm used to eating some pretty gamey things.
Well, I can tell you it definitely looked very appetizing when I brought it in. And I made sure to cook it very well with my spells. So I have high hopes for this one. Bon appetit.
So I'm down on my knees with my knife out, carving off a piece and putting it up to my nose, getting a little of the grease on my fingers and putting it to my tongue, and like look away, making a horrible face. But you want?
Yeah. So let's get a roll to see. It's kind of a combination of your ability to skin it and it was cooked correctly with the spells. But why don't you do a defy danger with your wisdom here, Eula?
I got a 9.
Sweet. I will.
Did Chef Dreadwin do his job?
So it'll take you some time, Eula, maybe an hour or two to harvest as much meat as you can from this thing. So any of you who want to, there's a total of, let's say 12 rations available from this, but they're not just going to be regular rations. They're going to be putrid rations. So if you want to eat them, there also may be roles involved, or fictionally that they may have consequences for eating the putrid meat. Now, I'll say this before we go on. Dreadwin, the putridness doesn't bother you. It's not going to affect you because this is your jam.
Okay. But also, I was going to say, out of character, we have one particular spellcaster who knows how to purify things, and we may want to roll from that.
Let's have that scene.
Yeah.
Let's see who can pure. Oh yeah, Millie, you do have purification. So, Dreadwin, why don't you frame up the scene of you talking to Millie about that? Maybe it's the next morning, maybe it's that night, whatever.
I would like to frame up something real quick though, before we get to there, of me wrapping my head up and heading over towards Rukal and moving up beside him to say, "So you've hired us a crazy person who's going to bring in monstrosities for us to eat. That was your plan for our magic."
Yeah. That's the plan, because we're chasing a bandit who's not of this world and probably teleported to another plane. So this bodes well for us, I think.
Yeah, bodes really well. Thanks, buddy.
You can deal with it. It just will get you dirty. I'm sorry about your head. If I had been there, I would have tried to catch you. You just jumped too quick. We have to work in formation. Come on, we need to be organized. We'll get with it. These new people have thrown us off of our regular loop. You and I.
Organized is never any fun.
Yeah, this guy, Dreadwin, jumped out in front of my shield after I protected him, and I could have just stabbed it, put more spells. You'll maybe need to consult with him about the proper use of magic.
You know, I'm not deaf. I prefer particularly talented instead of crazy person.
Oh, yes.
I bet you do. I look forward to giving that that title to you.
Oh, I don't need your praise for that.
Dreadwin, next time summon something with weapons, something I can stab and won't run away from a fight.
Wait, you want something with weapons? Are you sure you want me to summon more of that stuff?
Well, not today. I'm tired, but next time, yes.
Okay. I don't have, well, okay, yeah, I do have some control over it, but I'll see if I can find something. It's sort of like shopping, if you will. I'll shop for something with weapons. See if I can find something fancy for you.
Can we even eat this thing?
Dreadwin just takes some of the meat that you were holding and just like starts eating it.
I continue looking over towards you.
I don't see what the problem is. Last I checked, in terms of body mass, I was the lightweight around here. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I feel sick, and I'm still retching up stuff from this, but I also go through a lot of food with my body mass. So, Camille, I need you to get over your sensibilities and do your thing to make this delicious. Dreadwin did half the work, and you must do the other half. Get dirty.
Really?
Yes.
Get dirty.
Yes.
I will turn slightly and just kind of casually flick Blaze in that direction. And I will attempt to cast a spell as my whip cracks into this thing's body.
I'm down there with my hands like up to the elbows in viscera as I'm preparing this meat. Watch what you're doing. Crack.
Don't worry, I won't hit you if I don't mean to. And as it cracks down, I suppose I will roll. Yes, I shall. All right. What do I roll with, however?
I believe it's your intelligence.
Is it? All
Yeah,
right.
cast the spells with intelligence.
All right. That's a 9.
Cool. And the intent is just to purify the meat?
Yeah, to make it edible for folks.
Okay. Let's say this. It becomes edible. It's going to be temporary. So this isn't like you didn't turn it into dried meats and nuts and berries. It's going to be something that you'll want to eat the next couple of days. But that shouldn't be a problem for you guys. And then I think that's the only other thing that really fictionally makes sense. So we'll just leave it at that. Cool. So you guys get 3 rations that need to be eaten in the next few days. Congratulations.
I will not eat this.
Yeah, you don't trust your own work? Well done, well done. Do you go by Camille, or do you want to be Millie?
I imagine you at least call me Millie, and I don't mind being called Millie by the rest of the party.
Okay, great.
It's the lady.
Then just at some point, I'll extend the butt of my spear to Dreadwin and like tap his chest and say, "You have plenty of people here with you that can kill whatever it is you might randomly draw from your netherworlds. So next time you wish to summon meat, which is a grand plan, make sure that we're there to kill it right away.
Will do. Will do. I'm glad to hear that. Yes. He sort of pulls out a little book and starts flipping through the pages. It's worth noting that the book sort of is written in sort of a crust, if you will. It's not actually in ink. And he's moving his fingers over the crust rather than just reading it with his eyes.
Nice. And by the way, do you know what this stuff is and how I can feel better quicker?
Hold your nose. That usually works.
What?
Just try it.
Okay.
I can't say anything about making your liver feel better, but I can say it will make the experience more pleasant.
I'm dissatisfied out of character because I need both my hands to do my work, but I'll do it. And from here on after, I'll be complaining, it's not working. I still feel like crap.
I'm sure that I smelled a water hole back a few hours. Of course, there'll be lots of other animals there too. I'd give you a chance to clean off.
How far are we from Alameen? Are we a few days or closer?
You're a little more than a week, like 8 days or so.
Away from Alameen?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Oh gosh. Then yeah, I suppose I would try to get unsick by washing the gunk off of my outsides at least.
Let's see. So you're saying this is happening over the next couple days of travel?
Yeah, whenever it's fruitful and not delaying and whatever. Just basically, I want to get unsick whenever it's possible, but I can let it stick for dramatic effect.
Yeah, we may have you make a roll for that over the next couple days. I think something's going to happen probably tomorrow because of the flash of burst of light during that last spell.
Yes, true.
So you guys can all sleep. You guys maybe set watch. Doesn't matter. Nothing else interesting is going to happen until you all are awake. If you took hit point damage, I think only Tyler or only Millie did. So when you get back, Tyler, there you are. Go ahead and heal up, and everybody consume one ration.
So wait, we consumed 2 rations last time, correct? And now we're consuming another?
I think I explained that poorly. Yes, you already consumed your rations. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we consumed 2. So we consumed two total rations and gains 3 putrid ones. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, which are now regular rations.
It's just that they have to be eaten before the other ones, which they probably will be.
Yeah. Cool. So the next morning, is there anything else you guys want to happen before, or as you pack up camp, or before you start following the road again? Okay. We'll on our way. Oh, Ruben, did you have something?
No. I was just thinking. Nothing.
Okay. So let's get another roll for scouting ahead today, and this'll Yulda. This'll kind of cover the whole day's worth of travel.
Okay.
And I'm just assuming Yulda's doing the scouting. If somebody else wants to do it instead, feel free.
I'm the best at it. You needn't bother yourselves. It's nice to be sort of away from the rest of you also. Get some quiet time. So I got a 10.
Awesome. So as you're scouting ahead, maybe it's midday by this point. One of your cats brings back to you a strip of cloth. Another one brings back to you a jewel on a chain. And with that information, you can add that, the jewel, by the way, to your inventory. With that information, you can intuit that there's a trading post of some kind up ahead. And if you want to, you can take a look yourself.
Well, I give the cats a good feedback, patting, especially the one that brought this weird jewel. A trading post. I want to look at the road along here. That we're on a trade road that had been sort of deserted. Does it look like there is traffic that's been going through here? No.
Really, no. I like looking at the footprints and stuff. There's maybe some signs of traveling, but nothing like a caravan that you would expect. And I mean, it's a road between the village you just left and the village you're headed to, and there hasn't been anybody coming to you. So.
I would think I would scout ahead, an extra mile or two beyond where I'd normally have my sort of horizon from the group to get a better idea of what was going on up there.
Are you doing so in a way that will keep you hidden, or are you walking just like right along the roads?
Hidden. To the extent possible in this barren, open terrain.
Cool. Yeah, so this is the first time that you encounter anything like this. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. in the area, you see off to the left-hand side of the road, which would be south because you're headed westwards. There's an oasis and a group of trees. I don't know, maybe 40 palm trees or something like that. And even from a distance, you can tell that there are some like stands out there, colorful tents and the like.
Okay. All right. Well, as soon as I find that, I will make sure that I'm not being seen and then head back to the group to tell them what's ahead.
Cool. Hearing all that information, are you guys changing course at all, or you just headed down the road still?
So this is off route.
Yeah, it's definitely within reach of the road, maybe a few hundred yards or something south. But if you stay on the road, you'll pass right by it within sight of it.
Yes, I'm very interested in seeing if anybody there needs anything in Alameen to be done.
It also seems like a good place to take advantage of the oasis. I mean, we could always use some extra, food on the way.
And baths.
Yes.
No. Don't contaminate the oasis if you still got some of that stuff on you.
So anybody have issue with that?
I'm good with that. I wouldn't mind. I have no money apparently, but I'm more than happy to go and see this trading post.
Yep.
I'll send home a bill to Daddy.
Lovely. I like that. So you guys get up to the trading post, and there's not very many stalls there. There's a few, and as you approach, one of the men there points at the cats. He says, "That's the one! That's the one that took my jewel!"
I look kind of confused and reach to my belt where I've got the little necklace thing hanging and pull it off and hold it out innocently. You mean this?
Yes. Oh my gosh. An honest person on the trade road? Come in. He's got a little bit larger of a tent. He'll take it off you, and when you go inside, there's some pillows and cushions and such if you guys would like to sit and rest for a little while. And he says to you, "What's your name, dear woman?"
I'm Eula, and this is, what's the name of the cat? This is Minnie. I grab the cat by the scruff and bring it up into my hand. Would you like to pet it?
I'm not one for cats. In fact, that's how she got the jewel. Was I was trying to chase the other one off.
Clever cat. All right, put it down.
Menacing, but try.
Are you traveling, or is this your? Do you stay here?
I post up here. I post up here on when the raiders aren't out. Not much of a living, but hey, all I need is some food and any baubles that I bring home. My wife enjoys.
Well, this is. I introduced the group. Go ahead. Okay.
I was gonna say, is this all yours? Are you a clan?
No. I'm from Alameen, actually. These guys, I don't know where they come from. I think some of them are part of the raiders, but you didn't hear it from me.
Raiders come and go. They're a good lot. There's good ones and bad ones. Are you perhaps interested in some exotic meat? We have felled a strange beast lately from across the lands that you've probably never tasted. Fetch a pretty penny.
The meat kept this long? What did you do? Salt it?
Yes.
More like assaulted.
And smoked it. Cured. I would say cured.
Let's have you parley for this here.
All right. That's plus charisma.
Yes, indeed.
I'm not terrible at that. Rukawa is better at it than I am. A 10.
Okay. So basically, that means that he accepts your offer for trade. Let's role play it a little bit though. So he takes a bite of it and he says, "Oh, where did you say this came from?"
What was it called? What? I don't know the name of it.
It was a snorfeluff.
Snorfeluff.
A giant bird. It probably flew here from another continent.
Ooh, that is exotic. You know, the raiders, they don't care so much about meat. I think half of the time they just drink the milk from their oxes anyways. But they'll probably buy it from me. How much are you asking? And how much do you have?
This much. I produce however much we have. I don't actually know what we're in need of. I'm more interested in a job than tangibles or information, perhaps, that will satisfy everybody's curiosity about the bandit.
Sure.
Anybody else have any interests? Like material interests?
I'm more than happy to sell whatever bit of rations of this thing I have.
For anything? Just money? Just cash?
Money's perfectly fine, but just because I'm not going to eat it.
Dreadwin, are you?
It's good. I'm totally keeping mine.
Okay. Everybody else is giving theirs up, though?
Yeah, but there's one ration that I've already fed to the cats, so I only got two.
Okay, cool. Go ahead and mark it off on your sheets. And so, yeah, he asks you, what are you asking for it?
A little bit of cash, a little bit of, I don't know what the colloquial term would be for antitoxin or the like. It's not a cure-all. Do you happen to have a panacea?
Oh, a panacea. Yes, I've got a bottle of that. So what, you just want a couple of coins and some panacea? Absolutely. Five gold pieces a pound.
It's better than what we had yesterday. Okay. Is anybody else charismatic? I better not be the only one.
I think you and I are as good as it gets.
Okay. Gosh, this is horrible. Okay.
Well, I mean, you've already got a full success. You can throw more on the table. I was trying to, I guess, so let's table talk for a second. I was trying to say that he's still amenable, like he's still in a good mood. He's not like trying to gouge you at this point.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's hardly anything. Are you sure?
Perhaps a little bit of rumors that you might have heard. We're not used to this place, and we've heard a few interesting things about a disappearing bandit, and you say your company is a little nefarious?
Yes.
He's gonna step outside the tent, comes back in. You heard too, huh? It's the freakiest thing I ever saw. He was there. He was hanging. He was twitching and writhing. You know how they do. I get a thrill out of that. Anyways, the moment he stopped moving, I was close enough. I could hear his breath. And then it was like dust. It was like an hourglass or something with the bottom broken, and it just poured out of the noose. But there was nothing there on the ground afterwards.
Hearing this, I think Dreadwind is going to start pulling out books. He's going to start looking through them, seeing any spells that might actually pertain to this kind of personal description of what might happen to a person.
Yeah, go ahead and spout some lore.
Yeah, using the books.
I gotta say, spout lore I think is my favorite move in Dungeon World. So much fun. All right, what'd you get?
I got an 11, and wonderful, wonderful. Not only that, I have my arcane learning, which gives me a little-known secret on the subject.
Oh, yeah, because it's magic related. Cool.
Yeah.
Excuse me again. I don't know what I ate. Okay, so in your searches, you find some information about a man named Prince Eli. Now, this prince, it's kind of a legend. It's been hundreds of years since he was around. But Prince Eli was said to have been cursed, and the only way that they could defeat him, since he was so mighty and his army so powerful, was to turn him to dust. So that's the interesting thing. And the immediately useful thing is that the description afterwards of the few months and the years afterwards, and then it kind of tapered off after his cursing and disappearance. Mm-hmm. This happened to people who died near his anywhere near his tomb.
Interesting. So Edwin's going to start saying, I think I found something that might relate to this. Prince Eli, he was called. The legend died many centuries ago. Well, maybe several. I wasn't counting. Anyone who dies close to his tomb or wherever he died seems to die in the same fashion. Turn to dust.
Just
every now and then.
Prince Eli, it's just a fairy's tale. There's no such thing as a Prince Eli, just like there's not somebody actually who rides across the sky and carries the sun and the moon. It's just a folk tale, teaching kids to not make trouble around graveyards.
Are corpses that turn to sand in the noose?
Yeah, he kind of like bristles that, and he says, Coincidence. That's all.
Indeed. Surely there have been no other executions that have gone awry as this. How horribly improper.
Actually, I never asked, what was the little-known factoid that I actually knew?
Let me think of the little-known factoid that you Actually, let me just skim my notes real quick.
Okay.
Here's the little-known factoid. It's rumored that since sand is what makes the sea, and eventually the mountains, and then the sea again, that it's a cycle, and that Eli may return.
But there are no notes of this person returning. Not this person, sorry, any other person who's died in the same fashion.
Not in your book.
Legends or not, next probable step is to try to figure out where this tomb of legend might be. This world is filled with a bunch of weapons that have legends about them, and eventually these heroes seem to find them out of nowhere. Fame and fortune, you know the story, plays itself again and again. I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of them. Says that, snapping his book closed.
I'll look over at Katao and, yeah, this would be quite a challenge, wouldn't it?
Yes. Did this man say his name, this traitor?
Oh, sorry, Alabab.
Alabab. You wouldn't happen to be interested in a little investment opportunity, would you? A man of your station probably has plenty of capital on hand.
I made it very clear to you that I make a modest living, nothing more. But I am always looking for get rich quick. I would love to leave this place, settle somewhere down south, maybe close to the coast.
So you'll fund us then. We'll bring you returns on our spoils.
And what do I stand to gain?
A percentage, of course.
Ah.
You heard him.
So,
riches and spoils. Magic words.
Say I were to send you all with 100 core. How much do I get back when you return?
Math is not my strong suit.
I will look over at you. I suppose that we can guarantee his investment plus 10% of what we find? Or is that too much?
Yeah, at this point, I don't think Dreadwind is going to even try to hide this per se. He just sort of face palms.
You've set us off on a rabbit trail.
So
he simply says, let's make this simple, like the man says he likes to live. Let's stick with selling the meat as we have promised. No more, no less.
Are you guys going to listen to Dreadwind?
We can always come back.
I wouldn't mind having some, and I'll kind of reach up to the scab on my forehead. Perhaps some poultices, something that we can tend our wounds. We were sadly lacking earlier.
Are you requesting something? Like healing goods?
Yes.
Okay. I believe the immediate course is wise, Dreadwind. So perhaps we can discuss investment opportunities when we have more information. These are just fanciful tales.
I'll say this. You guys need some basics? I'll give you basics. I'll give you 25 coin worth of, healing and bandages or whatever it is she needs. And we say when we meet again, if you did well, you give me 50 coin. I take care of a need you have now, and you take care of a need I have later.
So just to be particularly clear and specific about the parameters of this agreement, you would like us to acquire what loot might be had from the possible tomb of Eli that you disbelieve in, that might be in the whereabouts of here. Is that correct?
And all I ask is for 50 coin next time I see you. These bandages are sitting here on my shelf for months. Nobody needs them.
That seems like a good deal.
So he's not giving the 100 coins, right? Because that'd be a loss. That would be a loss for him.
I was thinking from Dreadwind that you guys were backing off the 100 coin deal.
Right. Yeah. I mostly just want to have a job, so I'm prone to accept it unless somebody stops me. Because there seems to be no loss except for 50 coin to somebody that maybe I don't know. If he's shady, we can fight him later.
And Tyler, I was trying to fulfill your demand there for healing stuff. Does that work for yours?
Yeah, that fits what I want.
Perfect. Cool. Let's take a real quick break here. I think we're at kind of a good stopping point. And Tyler, I'll let you pick out the gear there, 25 coin worth, and then we'll come back. We've got about an hour left to play, maybe a little less.
Is the 25 coin worth coming from each person and going to each person?
So it's 25 altogether.
Okay, so it's split. So that would mean, say, if Tyler wanted poultices and herbs, that would be 10 of the 25 coins that we all have. So we sort of need to work on this as well.
Yeah, if you want to give input, that's fine as well.
Okay. All right. Dreadwind probably isn't interested, but I just wanted to make that clear for the rest of the party as well.
Yeah. Let's take 5 minutes. I need a bathroom break, and then we'll be back. Well, Tyler, what do you think of keys so far in Dungeon World?
I like it. I think it's cool. You know how I love the keys anyway.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I think it's a cool idea. I'd always like the flags better than bonds, and I think these keys work well. I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah, yeah. I've had good success with the ones that I've run so far with them. I mean, we've talked about it before. It's you have something to do and have something to help with at the same time. It's best.
Yeah, it's a sweet mechanic. I mean, you know, Harper did a good job with it.
He usually does.
He does. He's done different things now for Blades, but I still think he's a hell of a designer.
Great, yeah. And as you guys are all coming back, I added an image. I forgot I could do that to the roll for your party. That's kind of the type of landscape you guys are looking at there. And I don't know who had their name on there, but I guess the image overrode it. So if you want to add your name back, that's fine. I do want to retcon a tiny bit. Let's make it 50 instead of 25. 25 is such a small amount. 50 actually means a little bit.
Does that mean we give the 50 back? Like
So
when
it'll
we see
be,
next time?
it'll be 50, and then you pay him back 100. Unless you guys do want to keep it at the lower amount.
I was looking over what we could possibly buy, and my suggestion at 25 was 3 bandages and an antitoxin, since I know that Kutal had mentioned antitoxin. If we go up higher than that, I would suggest probably 3 more bandages and a poultice and healing stuff. We are now. That's just my suggestion. Out, see what people think, but we are a little tight on healers in this party.
That may be true, but we're also coming across 100 coin is a pretty difficult thing to do, I would say, unless it's just handed to you. I don't think going with 100 coin return investment is really a wise thing to do in the end.
All right. Do you prefer the 1 antitoxin, 3 bandage route and 25 for 50?
I don't think. By 3 bandages, do you mean 3 uses of bandages or 3 things of bandages?
That would be 3 bandages, meaning that Kutal would have an antitoxin, and each of us would have a bandage with 3 uses.
I think that's very good. 3 uses of bandages adds up to 12 HP, and that's very notable. That's basically a camp break.
Right.
So I would say go for it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So, provided, since we're missing somebody now, but provided he agrees, then that would be the 3 of us each taking a bandage into our set. That's a no weight, so that's nice. And then we'll let Kutal take that antitoxin, and of course we can heal each other off those bandages however we need.
Sounds great.
And we got some money for the meat too, right?
Oh, yeah. You'll throw what's in here? 5 points to each of you that sold. And Tyler, I don't know if you knew, but there are, if you go to one of the bottom tabs, there's a gear tab. You can just copy and paste it rather than type it in for business stuff.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yep.
So wait, who are we missing again? We have oh yeah, Adam. Okay.
Yeah, we'll give him a second. He was here when we got back, but dropped while we were kind of chatting. So
yeah, because I was thinking he would have probably my my set of bandages, considering there's 4 of us and 3 sets of bandages. So
okay, that's fine. I can put that in for him.
yeah.
Eula has wandered over to the other tents. She's not been part of this whole conversation about the haggling.
You even crept out while they were chatting?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Let's my computer's freaking out. We can kind of see what was going on with you, and then if he hasn't jumped in by the time we wrap that up, we'll try and figure out what's going on with him. So as you kind of slink out of the tents, you're taking the cats with you, I assume.
Sure, they kind of wander on their own most of the time.
Yeah, there's a few other merchants here. As much as this guy says that he is not that well off, he's definitely well off compared to these guys. They've got like clay things instead of jewels for sale, and like rocks that they're pretty rocks, but they're just rocks, you know. There's maybe 8 more merchants, and a few of them look a little shadier. Probably tribesmen. All the ones that look a little shadier and kind of rougher are also elves.
They're elves, did you say? The rougher ones are elves?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
So what do you want to do?
I'm just walking through there, kind of nosily poking around. If any of these seller, if anyone at all, makes any kind of leering or move toward me, I immediately almost like hiss at them like a cat, and brandish my spear, showing that I'm not to be trifled with.
Nice. You probably freak a few of them out because they're trying to make a sale, and you're like, but they leave you well enough alone after they see that once or twice. Are you hoping to trigger a discern realities here? Kind of looking around.
Sure, why not? I hadn't had an ulterior motive, but always take one, right?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense of the fiction. I just wanted to make sure.
I was, I don't imagine that they have anything I want to buy, but if there's something weird going on, let's find out. Cool. And that's plus wisdom?
Intelligence.
Int? So that's a 10 total. And we've got moves. Let's see, I get to ask some questions.
Yeah, you get 3.
Oh, well, what here is useful to me?
There are some, a few of the merchants have different versions of maps that may be useful to obtain. They, just at quick glance, they appear to be of the area that you're headed to.
All right, maps. And what here is not as it appears to be?
We got hints of this earlier from Alabab, but excuse me. The elves are not traders. There's a reason their stuff looks like crap. The bandits that you've heard about, they trade when they have something worth trading, but they also just stretch out their tendrils to look for good targets.
So these things they're trading are not things that they've traded for. They might be like stuff that, a random assortment of stuff that they've raided, in other words.
Likely, yep.
Yeah, so I can see like toys from some family that they raided, and we weren't supposed to go there, right? Sorry.
We'll go over that.
But yeah, I see signs of violence and badness. All right, what's about to happen?
Oh, that is a perfect time. Let's catch Adam up real quick. Adam, can you hear us?
Yes.
Cool.
Sorry.
So Harry wanted to, sorry, not Harry, Eula wanted to wander around while you guys were in the tent. And so he's kind of been perusing the other merchants and such. He spotted some maps that he thought might be useful. And he also spotted that there's these rougher looking merchants that are all elves that are not merchants really as much as there are kind of spies for these bandits that you've heard about. And then he asked, what is about to happen? Oh, also, did we add... Let's sort out what gear you guys got real quick.
We went ahead, Adam, and took that 25 worth, got 3 bandages and an antitoxin. You've got the antitoxin. I believe you also have Dreadwind's bandages, and that means Harry and I have a set of bandages, or Eula and I have a set of bandages each.
Yep. And you also, Millie, wanted to buy some rations?
Yeah, I'm going to pick up some dungeon rations if there's some around. I'll have gotten 5 for selling off my rations, spend 3 for that, and pocket 2, and feel much better not eating that horrible bird.
Sounds good. So, Adam, you also got 5 gold for selling your rations, and Eula also got 5 gold for selling her rations.
Okay, so I have bandages and 1 antitoxin. Is that what? Okay.
Okay, cool. I think we're all caught up then.
Yeah.
So, what is about to happen? You hear these elves making some odd noises, some kind of symbol to one another. It may be visual, maybe noise, but they're discussing and signaling one another that a raid is going to happen soon. What is it that you observe? Kind of give us the description of what you see them doing that tips you off.
Oh, well, it's weird elven mannerisms. At first, it just seems like, well, maybe this is a cultural thing, but it's clear that they're communicating. They're doing little, hand gestures, and one will reach into his mouth and kind of rummage around in his sort of grizzly raider teeth. I can hear it. It's almost like a wave going through the camp as one makes a sound, and then 2 on the other side of the tent make a sound, and then I hear it in the next, a rustle.
Awesome. Love that description. So yeah, with that information about an impending attack, what are you doing, Eula?
I'm spinning around with my spear, hissing at them.
Yeah,
then
go ahead.
If they seem like they're making a move toward us as a group, I will start ululating.
You'll start what?
Did you ever see Xena Warrior Princess?
Exactly what you're talking about now. So I'll kind of, let's roleplay this, and we'll see if you want to do your call. So yeah, you point your spear at the 2s near you, and they step back, and they're like, hey, if you don't want this stuff, just move along. Come on, we're not doing anything to you.
When they're like have their hands up and their back, my spear shoots out to them, not drawing blood, but it stops just inches from, well, millimeters from one of them's breastbone, and I look, I've got this sort of tribal tattoos on my face. I squint my eyes. I'm looking up at this elf saying, "You don't want to mess with me. If I were you, I would call off your men.
Men? What are you talking about? And he's going to throw like a satchel of money at you and just like run. The other one follows him. And the rest of the tables nearby are starting to move away from you as well.
I shrug, and they grab. Do they seem to be grabbing weapons, or are they just like running for their lives?
They're either these guys really are like maybe they're paid by the bandits and not actually fighters, or they're just acting.
Interesting. All right, I casually walk over and sort of take my time, a minute or so, looking at the maps. I choose the best one, roll it up, and walk back toward Alabab's tent.
Cool. Yeah, add to your weight 0 map of Alameen or Alameen Plains. So it's kind of the whole region that you guys are in, covered by that map.
Can I just say something? Literally the next thing, before we had this whole scene, by the way, with all the merchants, the next thing I was going to ask for was, we could really use a map so we could figure out where this place that we're searching for is. I'm not even joking. So literally, when like Eula is coming back to the tent, she would probably hear Dreadwin saying, "By the way, you wouldn't happen to have a map of the region, would you?" Like literally, at that moment,
I just. It's in my hand. I sort of slap it into your belly. Here you go. This little folded up package.
He sort of like holds it up.
Good luck seeing that.
He looks around. This is a map, right?
I take it back from you. Yeah. Yes. Yes, it is. Oh, blind wizard.
Well, when did we recruit a genie into our ranks? Good work there.
You get a little laugh.
Anyway, glad we have one. The reason I was asking was because if we can figure out what settlements the people supposedly died in these mysterious ways in the past, we might be able to sort of form a rough area as to where all these people have died, and the tomb might be somewhere around the center.
That's not a bad idea.
Considering that most of this is wildlands, shouldn't be difficult to pinpoint the sole places where people would be, settling civilized areas and actually dying there. So it shouldn't be a total wild goose chase, but we will need to visit a few places to actually get enough information to pinpoint an area.
Eula, you went and spoke with some of these other traders. Our friend Alabab here seems to believe they have business with these bandits. Did you notice anything like that?
I lean in. Oh, yeah, by the way, they've all run off. It seemed like they were maybe signaling a raid was about to start or something, and I drove them off for you.
Alabab, like wiping his head. He's like balding, and he's like, "Oh, not again, not again, not again! Help me load up my camels. Let's get out of here. We've got 10 minutes. Once they leave, it's 10 minutes, and we're done."
They're
going to come here.
But yeah, I'm going to have to pay them off again. I mean, we've got a thing, but it's not like a thing. I mean, just help me load my camels, please.
I don't think so.
Millie, just load the camels.
I am not loading camels. You can all do that. I'll keep an eye out.
Alabab, you need better friends, I think. And I'll help toss stuff up on camels, because that's no problem. Bags and roll up bunches of heavy stuff. Anybody else? Come on. You lay about.
Oh, yeah. I'll help too. Grumbling about if only I had a whip. The lady would have a taste for her own medicine.
Dreadwin, are you helping too?
Dreadwin probably tries, and then considering he's not actually very strong, gives up within the first few minutes.
You're the guy when it's time to help somebody move, you do like 2 boxes and then you drink water and eat donuts the rest of the time, huh?
Yeah, and then when someone tells him that, he should get to work, he's like, do you want me to summon something to do it for them? And it's just like, no, carry on.
All right, so this is what I'll do. Let's have Rukau defy danger with strength, and Eula, you're welcome to help. Whether you're doing this with your dexterity or strength is up to you.
Sounds good. I'll do it with strength, just because that seems more appropriate for this job. I got a 6.
Okay. Were the last ones yours, Rukau?
The white ones on top are mine. I have an 11. Sorry, I was muted. 11.
Cool. Yeah, so you get them loaded up pretty quick. Maybe takes you 5 minutes, and there's like 6 or so camels. He says, "Leave the tent quickly. Let's go. Are you guys gonna go with him, or are you finding your own way?"
Is he going toward this village?
Alameen?
Yeah, where is he going?
Yeah,
Where's
he's
he going?
He's from Alameen. Yeah.
Well, if he's going to the nearest settlement, we might as well go with him, considering we're trying to find out where people died in these settlements.
Well, Alameen's is a city, right? I mean, he's heading back towards home base, right?
Yeah. Alameen has 800 to 1,000 residents, so it's pretty big.
That's my family
days
home,
away.
right?
No.
No, I'm Hilton. I'm sorry.
Yes, we go with him. Alabab, we will keep you intact to Alameen. We will assure you of that.
Are you doing your contract again?
I'd like to.
Okay.
I don't know if that's too cheeky.
No,
And I'm not over promising either, because I don't know if he's going to keep all his stuff.
That's fair.
I do think that means you get to ask for pay, though.
No, not necessarily. I just want the +1 to complete my goal.
Yeah, that's fair. Cool. So you guys start driving these camels, and you hear the sounds behind you. Within like 10 or 15 minutes of you guys leaving, you can hear the raid happening, and you will also see behind you in the distance some men riding what look like kind of like longhorn cattle, like big. They're not horses. They're more cattle-like, and they're trailing you, but not approaching. What do you guys do?
Yeah, Dreadwin's gonna ask Alabab, do those guys belong to you?
Nope. That's the raiders. That's them.
They're gonna have a lovely time. And with that, his eye just starts to glow, and he starts casting a spell.
Wait. We don't need to destroy people or ourselves or curse the land ever further just yet.
Too late! So yeah, he's gonna roll to cast a spell regardless.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's hear your description then, and if you want to step in, Rukau, you can attempt to stop him from casting this.
Or certainly hinder it.
Yeah.
If you hinder it, it's going to end up worse.
It's going to get worse. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So you're just going to give the word of caution and leave it at that?
Well, it depends. If he's not going to obey the command to wait, then I might enforce it temporarily. Just like bowl him over, and that'll probably disrupt your casting.
Okay.
I'm sure you do gestures and whatever.
So
I'm guessing we're like running in the plains on
Yeah,
foot.
I thought we were like riding on something.
Oh yeah, does Alabab have camels? Camels.
yeah, the camels are loaded up though. You guys
Oh,
are
pack camels. Okay. Yeah, so I'll push you. I'm sorry. Rukau's not.
okay.
Wait. And then in the spot of time, can I just do my war cry this time that I was going to do with the what are they, ligers, and like turn around and face the oncomers if they're coming straight at us, and just like bang my shield and bellow to the sky and basically make like you don't want to mess with me, and hopefully use commanding presence to bully or threaten someone into obeying my commands to just back off.
Let's have this roll between you and Dread.
All right, how should we?
Dreadwind first. So Dreadwind, go ahead and roll your cast a spell. Just to clarify with you, what are you hoping to accomplish with the spell?
I'm basically going to be wrecking their rides. I'll describe how, but I'm basically going to be manipulating the flesh of their rides.
Sounds good. So get your roll on the table, and then Rukau, it sounds like if you're going to tackle or push him, that'll probably be...
Ooh, that be a 3.
Yeah, we should stop that.
Yeah, let's still get your roll on the table.
What did you want? What did you say? Sorry.
So roll interfere with your strength.
Okay. Perfect. So an 8, 9, 10.
Okay. I'm gonna just say they cancel each other out. I think that's
Okay.
a pretty fair ruling.
Do
So
I still get XP or no?
yeah, you still get the XP. So why don't you describe what it looks like as you tackle him to the ground? He's like mid spell weaving, and what do you do?
Okay, I remember how terrible it was, and I still am feeling sick from it. And so I get a little bile in my throat, and that's very unbecoming and distracting of a proud warrior. And so I'll just kind of lash out and charge at him with my spear sideways like this, and sort of, I guess, dive at him and then roll over like Nala in Lion King. But instead of landing on top of him in a flirty sort of way, I'll just roll back up and be facing the raiders and do my little hoorah. What are those guys in Star Wars? The whatever rated Tusken Raider thing.
Yeah.
And make my 7 feet of height look a little bigger than even it normally does.
Cool. Yeah, go ahead and roll your commanding presence now.
I said wait, I'll say to Dreadwind as I'm kind of tackling it over.
Yeah.
But it was a little bit instinctual.
When you sort of get up and Jedwin sort of just like gets on his knees like, do not do that again. But
one
fine,
abomination in a day.
yourself.
I think
But
one
fine,
abomination
handle
per
this
day.
yourself if you wish to.
All right, let's see how this goes. 7 + 1 is 8. So I threaten them that they don't want to mess with this. And an 8, they may choose to attack you or flee, but otherwise they will obey your command, which was leave us alone, basically.
Yeah. The couple of riders that are there, upon seeing your threatening presence, they turn tail. They move off. They're gone.
As this is going on, I'm going to look at Eula and just say, boys, I mean, you know what I'm talking about, really. And I'm going to twirl my whip above me, and as it seems to spread above the top of us, I'm going to let out this enormous crack. And I'm trying to cast a spell to give us absolutely perfect movement through this. The terrain is going to be in favor of us all the way around.
Ooh, I love that. Yeah, let's get that spell.
Oh, freedom of movement, yeah.
That's right. Let's see how well I do. 7.
Okay. All right. So let's say it has unforeseen side effects, which I think what would be interesting here is Maybe the camels aren't even touching the ground. They're kind of like floating, and you guys have to yank them along.
And y'all will kind of notice occasionally I do the same thing. I have a habit of floating a little above the ground as well.
And then the other thing is I'll have you take -1 to cast a spell until you've got some time to rest.
Gotcha.
So I'll just kind of describe the fiction as we wrap up the session here. So you guys start running, and as you're running, it's like you even feel yourself trip several times, maybe trip over a bush, but your feet are always just like right in the right place. It's eerie. I think probably especially for you, Dreadwin, you see like your lucidness, and it feels like somebody else is influencing you. Anyway, so as you're running and you're tugging these camels behind you, they're almost weightless. They pull right along, but they are like, you know, floating like balloons behind you. And the last you saw of those ligers, they were heading off away from you. And that's where we'll wrap the session up.
Wait, did you say ligers, or did you mean raiders?
Raiders. I might have said ligers. I meant raiders.
Okay.
Clarification. Cool. So let's do end of session, and if we have a few minutes afterwards, we'll do some roses and thorns off camera. But we'll start with adventure XP first. And the XP section on this character keeper is right next to your stats. So did we defeat a notable foe?
If the thing I summoned counts.
You thinking but Terror Bird counts?
I mean, it had a name that I totally forgot, but still, it had a name.
It's notable in that I feel like it's going to become foreshadowing for however this climaxes at some point. I'm sure there'll be some big abomination involved.
A snarfle, I believe.
Oh, yes.
Ah, thank you. It was a snarf.
That's good. Okay, so yeah, go ahead and everybody take one for that. Did we loot useful, valuable treasure?
If the map counts, otherwise I don't think we did.
Yeah, I don't think that we probably hit that one.
Yeah.
And then the last one, I always forget this one.
Did we learn something new and important about the world?
That's it. That's the one.
And I think the legend counts.
I think we spent all adventure learning new things about the world.
Yes.
True.
Yeah, that's a hard one to not get on the first session, right?
Well,
Yeah. It's basically a given.
That there is a town called Alameen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And about this prince that died and turned to sand.
Yeah, it seems important.
All right.
Cool.
So what we'll do next is we'll have each of you take a few moments to look at your keys, and then we'll go from left to right on the character sheet and just have you call out if you turned one and which ones you turned, and if anybody else was instrumental in you turning that, go ahead and hand them an XP. So Tyler, whenever you're ready, go ahead and...
Okay, I feel like I turned that key of noble, and I feel like that Kutao helped me with that. I think the order to load the camels and that ain't gonna happen. Fits cool. That one. I didn't do the key of lover, but I do feel like I did the key of reckless, and one could kind of argue that Dreadwin's summoning was the reason as a helpmate on that.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. So there's my keys.
All right, Dreadwin.
Now, I don't think I really deflected anything in particular. I would say no one really questioned me per se.
Don't forget the second half of that. When your mysterious nature costs you...
Okay, yes, you're right. You're totally right on the second one. Okay, no argument there. I think I did also... I could argue that Key of the Meddler might have been something I did with the rations. But that's a sort of so-so. So I might just say maybe not. Leave it up to you guys.
Well, so the thing I'm thinking of with the Key of Enigma was the summoning of the bird, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So
Definitely.
to avoid turning two keys with one action, let's just say Enigma and not Meddler.
Okay, fair enough.
Right.
I think I got.
Meddler could have been when I was trying to push you to make the cursing of the land more permanent or self-perpetuating and contagious, but you said it was temporary, so I would think.
I thought you were trying to do the opposite. I thought you were saying I really hope it wasn't permanent.
Well, Rukao was hoping it wasn't permanent, but I was giving you opportunity to make it contagious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I missed that totally. I think
okay.
I definitely forced the party to respect my magical prowess in more ways than one. I would say for Key of the Overlord. I think just like progressively over the course of this session, one by one, people are realizing, okay, we've kind of got an unstable mage on our hands.
Yeah, but it's useful in some sense.
Yeah, exactly. So I do definitely think I turned that one. And if I had to give it to one person, I think I have to give it to the leader of the party, which would have to fall to Adam.
Rukao? Yep.
Rukao.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he emphasized that pretty well with you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. If anyone reminded me as much, it would be him.
All right. How about you, Eula?
Well, I didn't hunt, and I didn't really have to be tenacious. I was a little bit strange, but not wildly strange. I think that's the only one that...
I think you portrayed it really well. I think, you seem very different than the civilized us.
I would like to bring up one thing, which was when you were scaring away the merchants. That was something where your strange ways may have offended someone.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking about, this being strange too.
How do you feel about the Key of the Tenacious? Is it one you want to keep? If you decide that it was kind of hard to hit, or it didn't, or you don't want to do it in the future, feel free to replace it. All right.
Yeah, I'll think about it. I mean, in a way, in certain circumstances, it could be an easy one to hit when we're, dealing with some difficult foe.
There's an interesting buy-off to it, too, if you decide not to keep searching for that master, that mage.
Yeah.
There's a neat turn point there, but, just as a thought.
Okay. How about Rukao? What keys did he turn?
I think it's hard to say when it's taking the lead in difficult situations. I don't know if I gave out any advice, so I wouldn't say ringleader. I was trying to do expansionist a bit with Dreadwin, but I was mostly trying to stop him rather than push him, so I don't think that really applies.
I was trying to... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I thought that was justified for the ringleader, where you were trying to take control of my difficult situation.
Oh, yeah, well, that's a good point. And I forgot, Millie was definitely questioning his wisdom and leadership authority.
Because I was thinking that first time you gave order, and I followed through with it, even though...
Yeah, getting dirty.
Right, where that was kind of showing that I take your lead in some of this.
All right, yeah. So I was thinking ringleader with Millie, because she was questioning me earlier about bringing the mage on board, and we were kind of old friends, old hats at this thing. And then I think that's probably it. Okay,
cool. Did you feel like the others were hard to hit because of the fiction, or?
No. I mean, I definitely still want to be encouraging people to go beyond their bounds. I was going to do that with Alabab and say you need hobgoblins instead of these bandits as your mercenary group. And then once we get fighting, I'm sure I'll be in single combat with contending with foes and emphasizing that they're above my station so that they can be greater when they fall. So I don't think they'll be too bad. I think it's okay.
Sounds good. All right, I'm going to end broadcast now.